So most of you may remember this video, this viral video of Father Pat, and it's titled "The Nations Will Be Humbled." And I just want to share this video. It's only very short, Father, because this is a prophetic word that you received, and it went really viral over the internet. And I think it'll be great for us just to start off with this prophetic word.
As we were praying there, I got a word, I think anyway, it's a word from the Lord. I saw a picture in my mind of two flags. Now, both of them were in a very desperate state. One was all torn and ragged, but it was what remained of it was blowing in the wind. And there was another one, I couldn't see the design on it, but it was very badly burnt. So there was very little of the flag left. And I was wondering, what's that all about? And unfortunately, what came into my mind was they are flags that have been destroyed in the war. And I thought, I hope in a way that's not true, that war is coming. But suffice to say that I don't think it would be surprising if we have a widening of the wars that we have at the moment, and they'll be very destructive. And my spirit sank when I thought this. And then I saw a third flag appearing, which was perfectly okay. It was way out in the distance. I could see the color very clearly. It was kind of a orangey yellow color, but very light colored. And in the middle was a white cross. And I said to the Lord, what's that all about? And he said, after the war, when the pride of the nations has been broken, they will accept my cross and the message of the cross. So it was ultimately a very hopeful, after the darkness will come the light. And that is our hope.
Yes, a very profound and powerful message, Father Pat. Would you like to talk to us a little bit more about that and your insights into that?
Well, I'd have to go back quite a while, Ron, because there was a prophecy in 1975, which was given in the presence of St. Paul VI in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. And it said, Ralph Martin was the one who gave this part of the prophecy. And I found out by talking to him that the microphones, oddly enough, had broken down in St. Peter's on the day that he gave this prophecy. And the only microphone that was working was the one directly in front of Paul VI. So he presumed to go up and speak at that microphone. And I'm paraphrasing here, but
yes,
it said that times of darkness were going to come upon the church, and that the church would be profoundly affected by this time of darkness, and that afterwards there would be a time of darkness in the world, although it wasn't very specific about what form it would take. And that after both, firstly, the church would be purified by its darkness, the world will be humbled by its darkness. And then the message of the evangelizers, who would have grown in the power of the Spirit and the gifts of the Spirit, that their evangelization would be very effective after the breakdown in the secular world. Now, I often wondered over the years, what form would the darkness in the world take? I mean, we're already familiar with the darkness in the church, because it's been going on for years. Like an obvious example is the child sex abuse scandals and the mass desertion of people from practice, church practice. I'm sure it's the same in Australia as it is in Ireland. Practice rate is around 10%, and it used to be 85%. So there's kind of an apostasy taking place. And so we're having all kinds of problems in the church. But I wondered what form would the problems in the world take. Now, I thought there's a number of possibilities. It could be a big financial crash, greater than the one we had in 2008. It could be a pandemic worse than COVID, which would sweep millions of people away through some deadly disease. Or it could be climate change would become almost unbearable and it would cause immense problems. But of course, always out of the corner of my eye, I thought there could be a war and a nuclear war. And I've been trying to discern, over the years, and that that image that that you shared there a moment ago, that made me think, unfortunately, it's the war option that's coming, and that it will be devastating. And it's interesting that Pope Francis has said for 2 or 3 years now that he thinks that World War III has already begun. And he says, like, it's smoldering, but that one conflict is joining up with another. More and more countries are getting involved. I mean, obviously, the North Koreans going into the Ukraine or into Russia is an example of that. And then the British and the French and the Americans allowing their rockets to be fired into Russia. It's getting worse and worse all the time. And so, Pope John Paul II did warn that great chastisement was coming. And he said that he thought it was unavoidable, and that we could pray to mitigate the chastisement, but the prayers would not prevent it. And he said something mysterious. He said, only in this way will the church be purified. Now, it was never clear to me whether he was talking about chastisement in the church itself, and I presume he was. But if there's a tribulation in the world, we as believers can't avoid it because we live in the world. So we will suffer along with everybody else. Maybe not in the same way, because we would have hope and say God has a providential purpose in this, whereas many people in the world will just despair because they see no purpose in it. So I'm afraid when I'm praying now in the morning, I'm pretty gloomy in the sense that I don't think even we're guaranteed to get to next Christmas, not this Christmas, but Christmas 25, without terrible upheaval in the world. I hope we get through, but the signs aren't good at the moment. And my point is that we've had many prophecies for many, many years kind of saying this was likely to happen, but people don't listen. So it's a fairly dire situation, unfortunately.
Hello, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome back to Mother in Refuge of the End Times. We are excited to announce that Mother in Refuge will be collaborating with John Leap's ministry to present a once-in-a-lifetime event. We introduce the Exorcism and Deliverance Conference titled Shielding the Children of God. This 2-day event, which culminates in a live worldwide exorcism, will be providentially held on the feast days of St. Benedict and St. Veronica on July 11th and 12th, 2025, held live in New Jersey or online via live stream. With 3 powerful exorcists presenting, as well as an ex-satanic wizard, Zachary King, and more great speakers. We are thrilled to welcome our keynote speaker, Cardinal Simoni, Chief of the Catholic Exorcism, known as the Living Martyr. Cardinal Simoni was unjustly imprisoned and on death row in communist Albania for 28 years. Now, he is an active universal exorcist and teacher exorcist. He is described by Pope Francis as the Exorcist of Exorcists. We also welcome Monsignor John Esseff, spiritual son of Padre Pio, and previous spiritual director of Mother Teresa and the Missionaries of Charity. Purchase your conference tickets now for 20% off using coupon code Mother in Refuge. Register now on website www.johnleaps.com or scan this QR code for more details. Don't miss out on this powerful spiritual event. Be strengthened, be restored, and be cleansed.